Thank you, Mark. Okay. Okay. Mark, I'm gonna, do you want to make me a co-host? Because I'm gonna have to share my slides in just a bit. Okay.
You should have the ability to do that without, you are a
Okay.
co-host already, actually.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, good. Okay, thank you. All right, well, I suppose we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, hi, hi. Yikes, welcome to class 12. Yikes. Did everybody have a good week last week? Okay, so we're going to check in as what did you learn about being off for a week? What did you learn, or maybe what excited you being off for a week? Or I know, what about a reflection about your life during your last week? That's it. Okay. What reflection about life did you have last week while you're off? Okay, so Jennifer, what about you?
I'm gonna say that salt and sugar can be mixed up and look a lot alike.
Oh, okay. That's a very interesting metaphor. Okay, so exactly what did that mean to you?
Um, it was I really needed the class last week because I was in a pretty bad spot after my weekend of working. Um, a surgeon who I thought, we were on very good terms, kind of reamed me out for the third time, and that was the last straw, and I had to report him. So not only was my week very busy with doing applications and submitting my resume to different places, but also in speaking with HR and reporting him.
I'm so sorry.
So that's okay. We had a big text message going between all of us, saying that we think we were felt like we were cutting class. And then an hour later, I'm like, I think we should be going into a breakout session. What should we talk about? So that was the light of my week.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. All right, I'm glad you made it through that. Okay, Mark, what about you?
I got behind on just my minimal checks of social media and learned one of my college friends had passed.
Mm,
Um, he was in Texas at that, so I just kind of revisited in my mind how fragile life really is, and how I appreciate, in this case, it was Facebook. It was a Facebook Messenger I had overlooked from a roommate I hadn't talked to in a while, and it was a meaningful test and check for me personally.
thank you for sharing that. Okay, thank you. Okay, Sonia, what about you?
Well, mine was very busy. It all worked out for me, not having class because we were getting ready to get on the plane to go to Washington, D.C. for the premiere. And that was like a quick turnaround because we get there Thursday, Friday's the premiere, then we're back on the plane early Saturday morning because we had to get back for our grandbaby's first birthday party. So it was just like a whirlwind, and then it exploded because I've had so many people reach out to me just from that premiere. I mean, just across the nation, just wanting to collaborate on so many different things. And it's just been, I realized I need another me. I gotta have another me somehow, but it was a really good experience. And um, yeah, I'll try to share more information about the documentary later when we have time.
Well, you sent a clip or something to us or me, or it was beautiful. It was gorgeous.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. The
Thank
whole
you.
experience was really good. It was just really good.
Awesome. Thank you. That's wonderful. Can't wait to hear more. Okay, Sabrina, what about you?
I learned more about work-life balance. I took a couple days off of work. A couple were voluntary and then a couple were because I was not feeling well. But either way, it gave me time to rest and reflect and figure out that, if you let things build up too long, then your body will take you out. So just learning to be more mindful of that in the future.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Liz, what about you?
Okay, can you guys hear me? Yes.
You're kind of gravelly.
Okay.
I saw you change. There you go. That's much better.
There
I
you
don't
are.
know why my these used to work. Okay. Moving on. A couple things, well, lots of things, I guess. But like at work, I am just one person. That job, that place is so big. I'm not gonna make all the changes. Like I'm gonna go with the flow. And when my input is asked for, I will provide it. But otherwise, I'm not gonna burn myself out on it. And then I have a family member. It's my mom. You guys don't know her. It's okay to say. And she's on an estrogen blocker from having breast cancer a couple of years ago, and she's noticed her memory is affected, and I've noticed that. I think we all have. And then her PCP did a mini cognitive test, and she didn't do well with that. But my mom is also a retired nurse, and she's like, she didn't even give that test the right way. And regardless, we're working to, I help draft. We've talked about what she wants. And then I helped draft like a note because she said she wanted to send her doctor a note before her appointment, May 30th, with the PA, with her hematologist to talk about that medication versus quality of life. And so I felt like it was like kind of a mini patient advocate kind of thing happening. It was great, like just doing the research on estrogen blockers and learning about that and if there are any options. And so it was good. I enjoyed it.
Great. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you. And Lisa Nowicki, what about you?
Yeah, I had a good week off. I dove into this program that my doctor had recommended. It's called DNRS. It stands for Dynamic Neural Retraining System. And so I'm in the middle of that. That is for just that I've just been kind of like just have these symptoms for many years, and it's like not getting that much better. It's kind of a long story. It goes along with the mold illness, but it has to do with retraining your brain and creating new neural pathways. So it's pretty exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Matthew, what about you?
Well, I had a nice week, and it was great to have the group chat. It was nice. I had a birthday about a week ago, and everybody kicked into that, so I felt like I was in class for my birthday. It was great. And when we got to the Wednesday, I actually kind of forgot that we weren't meeting, and I was just happy to have like one of those sneaky little quiet breaks in my backyard with, the sun, and it was just nice. It's a thing I'm going on in my life right now, even though I'm trying to ramp up work, I'm trying to slow down. And I think it's just probably my age and the time, but it's also, I've pushed so hard my whole life, and everybody has always tried to tell me just to slow down. So for me, that's what my reflection was about. I was getting little snippets of slowing down.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you, Matthew. So mine was, we went to Chincoteague, Virginia, which was fabulous. It rained and it poured and it was freezing cold, but who cares? And we just ate seafood a lot and ate a lot of oysters and fish and, fish, oysters, cold weather, rain, who cares? So it was great. And my big reflection is that it really is therapeutic for me to take a week off more often than every 3 or 4 months. So I have to, I'm trying to do it. I'm going to do it every other month because it's too much heaviness to bear over and over, too much heaviness. So too much heaviness. Yeah. So, okay, Lisa Seeds, are you back?
I have reset the router, so I think we're good now.
Hot doggies, you reset the routers. Okay, that could be a metaphor for many things. All right, so what's your reflection?
What are we reflecting on?
Oh, you're reflecting on a reflection you might have had last week because you were off and you were thinking, feeling, sensing, whatever, a change or not, or was there something that came up for you that was magical or whatever? Maybe not magical, but something.
Well, May is usually a very good month. Lots of great things happen in May. So I'm thankful for the weather, even though it's been raining a lot. I'm thankful that the pollen is gone for a while. But I'm always thankful to spend time with my kids. So no, I think that's about my reflection, spending time with the kids and little downtime and stuff.
Good. All right. Well, thank you all for your reflections. So we're going to get into the business of starting your your work as private practice people, and there are going to be several breakout sessions, and this is for your benefit to bounce off of each other a lot of different things. So first of all, I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to go over here. Let's see if that's it. That's it. There's all kinds of stuff on this screen. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to get this all out of here, Mark. Let's see how I do that. I have the AI companion. I'll stay the co-host. Let's get that out of here. And I can't get this out of here. Okay, what are the catch me? It was my name. What are the action items? I don't care. Let's do this. Let's see if we can get rid of this. Okay. Hallelujah. All right. Now let's see if we can get this out of here. Okay. All right. So tonight we're going to do the business of creating your own holistic orientation advocacy private practice. And generally speaking, I really always like to do a quote, but I haven't done one in a few weeks. So this is from Eileen Caddy's book, which says big doors swing on small hinges. So you all are in the small hinge phase of this project. And when you can be yourself, all stress and strain disappear because you are no longer trying to be something you are not. And this is by Eileen Caddy. And she wrote a meditational book called Opening Doors Within. She's the one that started Findhorn, the international, an international place for environmentalism. And she got all of her inspiration for the first several years because it was a trailer park and they had no plumbing, so she had to go to a potty outdoors. And the only place she could have inspiration or privacy was in the potty. So her biography is pretty funny. I love that. Okay, so here we go. So want to ask you, and maybe Jennifer answered this already, but this was a picture that was hanging in our cottage, and I thought, be fiercely you. Well, that's the truth for me because I've been fierce all my life and have gotten in trouble for it. So I love this quote. But what was the defining circumstance or circumstances that made you say, enough, I need to leave this job and do something else with my life as a registered nurse? So we are going to do a breakout group over that. So I'm going to do this. And so let's see, what was the circumstance that said, that's it, I've had enough, I need to go into private practice? Or was it more than one thing? In my life, it was about 5 or 6 things, but they were big things. But anyway, we're going to break you into dyads, and I guess we'll give you about, let's see, do you think 3 minutes each is enough, or do you want 4 minutes each to answer that question? 4, Lisa says 4. 4, okay, so you'll get 8 minutes. Luann, welcome. We're getting ready to break into dyads, and you have to talk about a circumstance that led you, or circumstance that led you to say, that's it, I'm done with being a nurse, I'm going to start my own private practice. Okay, so let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to divide you into 4 groups, and it is now 7:18. So it's 7:19 and 8 minutes. It'll be about 7:27 roughly that we bring you back. Okay, we might give you an extra minute. Okay, questions before we send you into breakout land? Okay, so Mark, I don't have those controls you do.
Okay, let's see here. Breakout rooms. And how many breakout rooms?
4.
did you say?
4.
4 breakout
Mhm.
rooms. And you as a co-host, do you want to be included?
I
this
think I
time?
should be out here, so let them do that.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. Okay, see you in a little while. I'm going to do 8 minutes. Here they go.
We're back.
You're back. Good job. Hi, Matthew. Hi,
Where'd
Sabrina.
everybody else go?
They're coming. You're very prompt. They're they're probably still processing. That's a big question for 8 minutes. 4
It
minutes.
is, but we both had defining answers that were, I think, stuck in they were such key,
Oh,
key turning things that it didn't take us long to conjure them.
oh, I can't wait to hear. Okay, can't wait to hear. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3. So we got, oh, yeah, okay, good. All right. Okay, so our first group, why don't we just say, I'm going to go according to how you're on the screen. Sabrina, was it Sabrina and Matthew? Okay, all right. What were your defining moments for yourselves?
For mine, I was talking to Matthew about how Liz and I worked at a company not too long ago that fired all of their nurses and replaced them with AI or attempted to replace them with AI. And just the fact that in the last few jobs that I've had, I feel that nurses really don't get the respect they deserve. And that's from doctors and patients. So I feel like nursing used to be a lot more respected. And I feel like that's definitely declining. And there could be a lot of reasons for that, some more valid than others. But for personally, I just see this trend downward and I'm not on that train. So I'm getting off.
Okay. All right. All right, Matthew, what about you?
Well, kind of like you said, there've been many things that brought me here, some big rocks that brought me here, but one of the biggest ones defining leaving and knowing I was going to somehow work into entrepreneurship even before I finished graduate school was I was a psych nurse for a long time at the VA in acute psych. And so it was, kind of a interesting milieu that I was in. It was wild. And graduate school, I was a night nurse. I was doing night shifts. And I had this just mean could be, one of those nurses that would eat their young, just one of those. And she was so horrible that one night she was so horrible to patients and to everybody, I almost turned around and pushed her or slapped her. And it scared me because I realized I shouldn't be here. None of it fit anymore. And that's what took me out. I wasn't I didn't like who I was there anymore.
That's a big defining moment, Matthew. Thank you both, Sabrina and Matthew. Phew, this is like the horror story show, isn't it?
Mhm.
Okay, Jennifer, who is your partner? And go ahead.
Lisa Nowicki was my partner. And we're reporting on ourselves or on our partner?
Yes.
On
yes,
ourselves.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of defining moments. Like I feel like I've been defined and redefined and kind of like a Play-Doh little doll remolded a few times. I've had an issue with a lot of things. I was telling Lisa Nowicki that most recently it's about being heard, about being acknowledged, and I guess being valued, what Sabrina was mentioning. And when it comes around to it and none of those goals are met, it really makes you think, can I find money somewhere else? Will that make me happy? Even though I'm still probably not going to be acknowledged. I mentioned earlier that, when you say there's something wrong and you take it or you send an email and say there's something wrong, there's something wrong, there's something wrong. And then all of a sudden, 3 months later, somebody goes, oh my gosh, there's something wrong. And you're like, I said this 3 months ago, you look at the email I sent and all of a sudden it's an emergency. So that's where, you start to feel undervalued. And then when you have a surgeon come at you because you're following protocol and maybe they have something going on the home front, but they decide to come in and, kick the dog, however you want to say it. It's just the final straw. There's always a straw that broke the camel's back. Well, yeah. So.
Thank you. Okay, Lisa, what about your story?
I was telling Jennifer that I feel like this is like 25 years in the making because when I make the choice to go to nursing school or actually go back to nursing school, because I was in nursing school when I was 19 and 20 and I couldn't deal with it at that time. Long story, but I just was thrown into a situation where I had to live on my own and so I just had to survive. So I had to not finish the nursing school then. And then when I turned 30 is when I made the decision to go back to nursing school. And I was a massage therapist at the time. And I really wanted to combine, I wanted to develop expertise in Western medicine so I could combine that with my holistic knowledge and help people in a greater way that way. And then somewhere along the line, as far as my vocation, I just kind of got caught up in the nursing thing and wasn't a niche where I could combine the two. I mean, of course, at bedside, you can, be present and, try to do as much holistic nursing as possible, but it's there's a lot that's entailed in bedside nursing. So that kind of goes by the wayside. So I feel like now is the time that I'm working on the courage and slow but sure, maybe just get some business cards going and just try to do a little something. And because I really feel like I can help people. So I'm psyched. So there's no actual defining specific moment, just a slew of them over the past, 21 years of nursing, as everyone knows how nursing is, with the ratios and everything that's, it's such a big business now, hospitals. And where are the nurses, where are the patients, kind of left at the wayside, where the CEOs can be capitalizing on our health. So ready to do my own thing.
All right. Thank you. And Liz Densley, how about you and your partner?
My fabulous partner was Luann, who is freshly back from Wyoming. I agree with all of you. Like, there's been a slew of moments of insight. I think it's intriguing how healthcare is like the business of caring, but I don't know that that's possible on a corporate level. It seems to get lost in translation. But honestly, I had sent Bree the info about this class, and then she signed up, and then I was being wishy-washy, and then 2 days before the class was going to start, I got written up for like crying at work. I actually got a great evaluation on something, but I was frustrated about something about it, like how they always have to point out, like, you can do this better. You can insert an empathetic statement right here. And it's like, whatever for why I was crying. Like, I don't know why, but I raised my voice when I was crying, like you do, because there's emotion. And I got written up for that. And that I feel like I'm too old for that. I've not been written up before, and it just kind of blew me away. And I saw that my boss and her boss are really good liars. And that and Bree helped kind of push me over the edge, and what you offer, of course. So yeah, I have hope now that I can take this magic that we can create, that we just have that skill set now. We've been nurses for so long, and just go work that magic with some other people elsewhere.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. And Luann, what about you?
I would say over the last decade, there were a lot of legal battles, which it seems that the energy that you have to invest in knowing the legalities, fighting either a doctor, a surgeon, an anesthesiologist, dealing with maybe nurses that are on your team that you're trying to encourage, but they don't like, it's like, you can't kill your patients today. You don't seem really on your game. I don't know. There's just a long series of battles, and I ended up feeling like I was spending most of my energy just fighting off nonsense. And I mean, even in the courtroom, having to go to trial for Copper. No, sorry. he's asking for attention. He's had to ride in the back seat for several hours. Um, where you see your colleagues have to fight nuisance lawsuits. And I think that then when COVID happened, that was the finish. It was like, this is a culture and a terrain that has become so insane. I don't know how to navigate it. In fact, 80% of my energy is taken up in all of this other, I would say, peripheral stuff, and, caring for patients. It's difficult to do when you're looking over your shoulder, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Thank you both. Thank you. And Miss Lisa and Miss Sonia.
Sonia, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm trying to get can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
My bandwidth isn't. Okay. Yeah, I can go ahead and go first. Well, first of all, and wrap all of your stories into everything that I have been involved with. I've been written so many times towards the end. I was just like, eh. I've even been written up for laughing too much. It's just insane the things that they will write you up with, and but mine is just, it's been a journey. I can just tell you, it's just been a journey for everything that I have been through. But it has made me stronger in a lot of ways too. I believe I've learned how to navigate and maneuver ways to get things need done. And it's just insane the way the healthcare system is. And it's more about the money making than it is about the care of the patient, or even the relationships that we have with each other, with our coworkers, and with our patients. It's like none of that matters anymore. And that's 101 in nursing. So, but yeah, it's just been a journey, and I just feel like there's no one specific thing I can really pinpoint on anything.
Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
And Lisa.
I'm reflecting everything everybody has said. There's not one part of it that's not true. I have had battles where I felt like that the truth is always the best thing, and then got blasted for telling the truth, and got sanctioned, as it were. And as far as I'm concerned, communication is always key. And if you can't communicate and let your team know what's going on, then I feel like the administration has let us down. They have told us that not only can we not tell the truth and communicate and allow people to make decisions for themselves, but, they're actually abhorrently denying them the right to make those decisions for themselves. And for me, it's been many things. I've moved jobs several times over the last few years. And I'm usually a good for about 7 years at any job just because I get bored. But with this whole thing, I read an article just recently in Modern Nurse that talked about, we work harder and harder and harder with less and less and less. But yet you've got these brand new nurses that are just coming out of school. They want us to teach them, and those new nurses, I'm trying real hard not to call them kids. Anyway, those new nurses are making almost as much money as I do, and I've been doing this for 20 years, 20 plus years. But, I have so many other things that I bring to the table that don't necessarily have to do with nursing, but have to do with skill sets and have to do with the ability to educate and, so forth. So, my concerns are multifaceted, as are each of y'all. And I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you 100%. I'm hearing you. But there's so many points where the administration has just let me down.
Yeah. 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 Well, thank you all. Those are all powerful stories. A lot of powerful stories about what's pushed you over the edge. We all have that in common. All right, so we're going to go a few more slides. We're going to be doing about 3 or 4 more breakout sessions. So it's important everybody hears their stories today. So let me go back to sharing my screen. And thank you for being fiercely, all of you, fierce. Okay, so just a little bit about my story. And I was pushed probably 8 or 9 times, and then that was it. But anyway, so when I went to start my business, I didn't know what to do. I think I told some of you that there was one program in Phoenix by Karen Mercereau to help go start into a patient advocacy practice, and it was $10,000. I couldn't afford it. So I decided to use the nursing process, which is assess, plan, implement, evaluate. And it was also kind of a shotgun approach because I really didn't know what I was doing. And I had fear and I was scared, and I was thrilled and I was worried. But I just said, okay, I'm a good multitasker, so I'm just going to do a lot of things simultaneously, maybe sequentially, but maybe not. So the first thing about me is I had a huge knowledge deficit about starting a business, and I was mentally, emotionally, and physically stressed. And what kind of resources did I have to start? And then the plan was I would go take some classes. So that was one of the things about going to see your SCORE chapter to see what kinds of classes you had. We haven't done the thing about community colleges. We're going to ask you to do that piece of homework eventually, but I did both things. And then I took a holistic stress management course from Brian Luke Seward. I don't know if any of you know him. He is from Boulder, Colorado, and you may know him. But maybe you might not. But anyway, and then I went to this fabulous workshop at the annual Western Women's Business Center, and that's where I met Sarah Benoit, and that was yikes. That was 9 years ago. So then to implement, so I asked Sarah after the talk, would she work with me? And she said yes. And we worked on my website from August 15 to February 2016. And we created 2 websites, RN Patient Advocacy NC and Karen Sanders Transitions Coaching, because I was a coach before. And what I learned from all that is creating a website takes a ton of work. And one of the smartest things I ever did is I hired a writer. So I was in the process of trying to create income streams for when I was teaching nursing school part-time. And I thought I did turn my downstairs apartment into an Airbnb. And the designer I got to help me turned out to be a creative writer. So she did a lot of the writing in my text for my website, and that was a big gift from the universe. And then to evaluate after each step. So Sarah was fabulous. She let me pay for a monthly fee I paid her back then $1,500, and she let me pay it on time. I also asked her if she would take layaway. I still ask a lot of people if they take layaway. I'm always surprised because people say, yeah, we'll do layaway. So I continue to work with her twice a year, and I go to some classes she still has. And the bad thing about what my expectation was, I thought Sarah was going to help me write my website. She was not a writer. She was a website designer, and it was smart to work with a writer for website content. So this is another picture of her. So one of the things I learned was listening to your intuition. Always come back to who you are. Make sure you understand your clinical, ethical nursing practice issues for your own state. Also, assess your own strengths and experience. All of you have great strengths, great experience, great education, great skill. And then one of the things I always was in was fear, anger, frustration, and having PTSD from when I was marginalized. So trying not to let that take me out. And what did I learn in strengths and challenges? And it was helpful when I went with Sandra Smith and had my Enneagram done. And then talking about all that you all have spoken out is to get away from what is oppressive to you, what is marginalizing you, and moving toward your own goal to do your own great work. So if you do your own great work, are there patient groups or types of people you want to work with, or environments you want to be in, or who are the types of patients that you would like to magnetize? And other things were, I wasn't ready to retire, but I was ready to retire from organized medicine. And I thought, well, I'll just leave my six-figure job and go work as a nursing adjunct faculty. That's right, I was making $30 an hour. So I had to have income from somewhere. So, and also a factor was, how am I going to pay for insurance? So when I left my job, I was on Cobra for 18 months or 6 months, that's right. And no, 18 months. And so, but when you do Cobra, you think you're still going to get to pay that amount of low insurance every month. No, it went up to like $750 a month. So I was supported by my family and friends. And then another thing is, I had great friends. I started meditating. I started doing more work with nurse coaching, and I found a name for my business. And I found Gary Heisty, who was doing a class at Blue Ridge Community College. So one of the things I would say is to pay attention to words that resonate with you, and pay attention to colors or pictures, and start writing your story about, what is your story? What have you done? What is your education? Why are you competent? And you can buy URLs, your websites, for very cheap. And it's helpful to get someone to help you do your website. And we're going to talk about paperwork and forms and all that, but I'm not going to go into that now. So one of the things we're going to do as a breakout group, what are 3 things you do not like doing? Do you not like filing? What about making appointments? What about documenting? What about measuring your income, documenting your income, reporting your income? What about taxes? What about filing? I hate filing. I despise filing. So I have to hire somebody every now and then to come in and do it. And on top of Sarah, she hates doing anything having to do with money. And she will tell you she hasn't done anything with money for 20 years because she gets somebody else to do it. So it's really important to be in touch with what you hate to do. So we are going to do a breakout group. This is a very prickly plant that grows in Chincoteague. And you'll notice this thing has got some righteous thorns on it. And this reminds me of the things we don't like to do. So we're going to do some breakout groups where you're going to share with each other 3 things you don't like doing. And this is an important exercise because I didn't realize I hated filing till I went into private practice because I had an assistant who did it for me all the time. So then guess who has to file? Karen Sanders. So, all right. So how many minutes? I think we're going to give you 8 minutes again. 4 people, 4 minutes per person. Does that sound okay to you? All right. Go ye therefore and talk about what you hate doing. I can't wait to hear this. Okay, go ahead, Mark. Break them up. Come. Here they come. Welcome back, you guys.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We had a good time.
I'm sure this is probably going to be full of tee-hees. That's why I can't wait to hear it.
Where is everybody?
They're coming. They're coming. They're still having fun. That's why they haven't come back yet. We have 2 more groups to come. Here they come. They're coming. Here they are. Yay. Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. All righty then. Okie dokie. All right, Sabrina, you and Jennifer, let's hear your stories.
Of things that we hate.
Yes.
Okay. So, mine was I don't like calling people. I'm traumatized from previous jobs of calling people. Especially like cold calls or anything that's sales related. So my marketing is probably gonna be an issue. I need some help with that. And Jen does not like taxes, and we were debating whether we need to file quarterly. But yes. And she also likes things organized, and at home is doing good with that, but she's concerned that she might not be as organized with the business. So she lost her label maker. So I made a note that she did a new label maker. We need to find one of those for her. But yes. So we both have things. I'm really organized, I think. So, we just balance each other. Somebody else got to make my phone calls though for people because nope.
That's totally awesome. Jennifer, anything you want to add anything to that?
The only other thing I said, and I joke about this all the time, and let me just explain it. I always say I don't like people. I do. I do. I love my patients. I love my coworkers. I love the intimacy that I can have with my patients because I'm night shift and I'm weekends. So it's truly just emergencies. What I can't stand is Monday mornings when all these people start coming in and they all gather around the same place. And it's just like toxic sound stimulation overload. And so that's where I don't like people.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I did omit that you said you don't like people, but
I know. I wanted to explain that too, though.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay. Okay, Liz, you and who? Who were you with?
I was with Matthew Moody.
Yay, Liz and Matthew.
Money. It's
Is
gonna
that,
be,
are you talking about you, Liz?
I am talking about me. I
Okay.
mean, Matthew's in agreement, but money, and then also taxes. And I'm like a huge proponent of filing, and I can do it for other people really well, less so for myself. Like I do, like it just sits there and stacks up, and then maybe quarterly, maybe less. I get it all together and put it where it all belongs. So maybe some help there. Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay, and Matthew, what about you?
Mine was really similar, and also the cold calling thing. I mean, when I was trying to make those 45 calls 2 weeks ago and stuff, I just hate that. And I have to rethink all that. So I I love marketing, but I'm not sure I'm really the person that should be doing it. Yeah, so it's not only a hate thing, it's just I think the technology is surpassing me. And then I just feel lost managing money. I always have. I've always been like, I've never been able to really put away and save. I really need a business manager of some sort to go in and just do that. And I am interviewing people right now to do that. So those are my three, and the filing, same thing, like once a year. My pile fell over yesterday. So now I have to kind of start over, and it's like, really, I shouldn't put it back in a pile. I need to get it in the piles. So
I love that story. Oh, that's awesome. I love your stories, all of you. Okay, Sonia, and was it Sonia and Lisa Seeds? Okay, let's hear it.
Lisa, you go first this time.
Fine. I told her the main thing that I can't really do very well because my mouth runneth over is confrontation. I don't do confrontation well because I'm gonna tell you how it is. And maybe I should pull a few punches and not say those things. However, I've gotten way better about it over the years, but it's still not something I enjoy. I don't care about the filing. I don't care about the taxes, all that other stuff. I mean, to me, that's stuff I've done more or less off and on most of my life anyway, so that's not a big deal. I didn't really think about the cold calling, but yeah, I don't like cold calling either. So I'm with you on that. All right, Sonia girl.
All right. So mine is similar. I don't like confrontations either, but I definitely don't like dealing with toxic people. That negative people, it's just not my thing. I can't. Whenever I start hearing things and seeing things, I'm just like, I can't deal with you people. Or even judgmental people. It's just, yeah, I can't deal with that. But yeah, everything else, because I've had to do that for my family my entire life, the money thing. My mom even says I run my family like a business because I'll have a conference call with my kids and my husband just so I don't have to repeat myself. And she said, "Man, you just run it like a business." I said, "It just saves me time, Mom. It saves me time." But yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you both. Okay, Luann and Lisa.
Hey, it's should I talk? Okay. I just see Luann on my screen, so I'm like, didn't know who was supposed to talk first, but I will say that both Luann and I are a little bit phobic about social media. So it was really good I got her as a partner because I think we're both on the same front on that one. And that seems to be like a pretty popular way that people get businesses going. So yeah, I don't know about that. Not looking forward to that. Probably wouldn't be very good at filing. Though I was telling Luann, I've never really done that, so I don't know, but it doesn't sound good. This sounds horrible as well, like just paying the taxes, especially. But I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot that's scary, but yeah, the social media, just the fact of keeping up on it. What do you think, Luann?
So insurance, I don't want to spend time dealing with insurance for payments, so I'm not looking forward to figuring out a process with that. I do know a lot of people want reimbursement from their insurance. And then, I guess a third piece would be a part of that. Then if you give them documentation of what you provided them, then trying to fit what it is that we are offering into an ICD framework, that is just like yuck.
Okay, does Is that it for you guys? That's about it? Wow, what a great list of things that everybody doesn't like to do. I love it. It's very good to know this because what you don't like, you won't do. So you have to start making plans to find out how you could maybe hire somebody an hour or two a month or something. So we'll talk about that.
Jennifer and me have decided our business is gonna fail.
No, it's not. You're both brilliant. You're going to figure it out. Okay. You're going
We gotta find somebody to fight our battles for us.
Yes, you're going to do that.
Because we
Call
can
me,
fight,
I'll
we can,
help you.
we can fight dirty.
Okay.
I'm good at slinging some mud or stuff.
All righty. So it's 8:13. So we're going to take 8:13, 8:15. We'll just go to 8 um 8:15, 8:20. We'll take 17 minutes. How's that? 8:20. Come back at 8:20. Is that good? Okay, see you in a little bit. Okay, we'll start back. Everybody have a good break? Okay. All right, I'm gonna share my screen. Have a few more slides. So I love that prickly slide. Okay. All right, so considerations for starting a private practice is to listen to your intuition. Remember, we spent one class identifying what our intuition types, a lot of you had several, and always come back to who you are and understand your legal, ethical, clinical framework for where you work as a nurse, and think about what your strengths and experience and education are, and what have you learned about yourself, and what are your strengths and challenges. So we're going to go do one more. What are your strengths and challenges? Okay. So that is another breakout group. So you guys have talked about what are the things you hate. So why don't we just focus on what are your strengths? What are your strengths? And we'll give you 4 minutes each, and we'll bring you back in 8 minutes. So now it is 8:23, so that would be 8:31, right, Mark? Roughly. All right, so what are your strengths? And it would be good if you slather them on and speak them a lot, okay? We know you all have lots. Now's the time not to be shy. Okay, Mark, let's let them have it. Go. Liz, Sabrina, Jennifer, and Lisa. Lisa Nowicki, and Sonia, and Luann, and Matthew. Okay. I think they've had turns with each other now.
And I saw the email where next Thursday is the Nurse Advocate alumni meeting.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Be nice.
great. Welcome back, everybody.
Thanks. I keep jumping. I must be jumping out of the rooms fast tonight.
It's all good. You guys are just quick sometimes.
Just get her
Sometimes it
done.
comes out of you real quickly, you know? It's all good.
The Zoom
Oh,
timekeeper pushes you out if you
yes.
exceed 60 seconds, though.
Okie dokie. All right. So, well, let's see. We'll take our first two who came out. Hey, Matthew, and hey, Luann, what are your strengths?
Well, I put one of my superpowers is I can usually really bring calm to a room. So I can, at least on the outside, I can do that. It was a real skill during my psych days and also my EMT days and at the prison. And now, funnily enough, even though I'm in a holistic practice, it's just as bad. It's a different kind of like,
Mhm.
up in the air all the time. So
Mhm.
I tend to be a grounding effect. My weakness is really well, we kind of laughed about it, but I really don't want to run my business. I want somebody else just to do it for me. And I just want to do the creative part and be functional, let them roll me out and do what I need to do. And um, I just get bogged down in all the little businessy stuff.
I'm
Um,
laughing because I said, "Oh, you remind me of the surgeons. They walk in the room, they need their gloves put on, they need their gown put on, they need their instruments, they need, I mean,
That's pretty funny. Matthew, what other strengths about you? Anything else you want to say?
Me, I'm a definite optimist. I'm not a pessimist. If I'm waking up in a negative room, I just really I really try to keep track of my energy before I go into rooms and tear things up. And that goes for work too. I really like to be a optimistic co-creator in those kind of places.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, Luann, what about you?
I love people. I think that it have a real heart for people who want to truly find answers and positive solutions. I think my mind organizes things well as I'm listening to people, core issues, what's going to take you out, it that comes very easily. A negative would be if if there is an awareness that this person isn't got skin in the game to do their part, meaning if you're working in wellness, there's participation that's required. And I gave an example of I'm not practicing now as a massage therapist, but I was trained by a surgery nurse who came out of the hospital, and she had a wonderful school. And she said that she would give assignments each week with her clients. And if it was discovered that they really were not participating in their own wellness, she would kindly, graciously, but tell them that she wouldn't be able to help them because she couldn't do their part. So I think I'm, not quite sure how I will overcome that. It's an irritation. If you're not invested in your health, then
Okay. Well, thank you, Luann. Thank you, Matthew. Okay, Miss Jennifer. Jennifer and your partner, Lisa, right?
Lisa Seeds, yep.
Lisa Seeley.
Lisa, I'll go ahead and go first because I know that's one of your weaknesses. You don't want to go first.
Thank you.
So I think some of my strengths were that I still love nursing. I still love being compassionate and empathetic with my patients. I love the intimacy that I have on the weekend night shift. It's one case, one surgeon, one patient at a time. I'm with my two partners that I love dearly. So it's kind of, everything's wonderful. And if it's the patient that I'm reassuring, that's great. If it's the family that I have to reassure, we're going to do our best. And I know that my team and I are the best. We've all got 20, 30 years worth of, experience behind our backs. So we know how to anticipate. So that's kind of one of my strengths. I'm still passionate about it. I love deeply. That can be a strength, but it can also be a big weakness, because then when my heart breaks, it breaks bad and it takes a lot to get over it. So that's kind of where I came up with that. I'm sure if I looked finely down that line, there were 3 things I mentioned. I think I just mentioned 2, but I know there's a 3rd one in there somewhere.
Well, thank you. Okay, Lisa Seeds, what about you?
Well, Jennifer forgot to mention that their team won an award just recently because of their wonderful attitude and ability to help their patients. So I want to congratulate her once more in regards to that. Woohoo! For me, I think my biggest strengths are I'm very empathetic. I like to talk to people and get to know where they're coming from so that I can figure out how to best help them. I think my favorite patients are probably teenagers. They're very difficult sometimes, but if I can get them laughing, then their mothers and fathers are like, "Oh my God, this is wonderful." And we're having worked in pre-op and in pediatric primary care for a while. I've have an ability to actually to communicate with them on a level that they get. And it makes them feel a little more at ease, and that makes me feel good. I love research. So research is one of those things that I could do all day long and never know enough about what it is that I'm researching. And I'll keep going if I don't have other things to do. I'm had multiple jobs over the years, so all of those play into a factor of what I can and cannot do. I think some of my weaknesses are my mouth. Anyway, I tend, like I said, to say the exact thing that needs to be said, but not necessarily as tactfully as I wish that I could. Yeah, I definitely love doing what I do, and helping as many people as I can. I work with the staff all the time. Right now I'm working more with the SCTs, trying to get them on point, but nurses always know that my door is always open. The SAs come, the surgical techs come. I've even had a few doctors that have come and said, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And I'm happy to be able to do that. I love being needed.
That's lovely.
I want to interject real quick. I want to interject real quick because the same surgeon that yelled at me yelled at Lisa too. So we're now 2 for 2.
Congratulations to you both. Okay, thank you. All right, so let's see, Sabrina, was it you and Liz today?
It was me and Liz. And I feel like I would be better going over Liz's strengths because she has a lot more than I do. But I'm good at organizing. I was telling Jennifer earlier, I'm a little too obsessed with my label maker. But yes, I'm good at that. I'm pretty type A when it comes to keeping track of money and finances, and I'm really good at having everything in an Excel sheet, color coded. I'm that type. You either love it or you hate it. But I do well with patients most of the time. I don't have any issues. Most of my patients love me. So that works out really well. I feel like a lot of people have said, because I feel like a lot of nurses are, I think empathy is something you have to have as a nurse. And I feel like I definitely feel when they're going through some stuff, especially because I know some of us have worked in like hospice and worked in the hospice and oncology, and like if you're not empathetic in that, you should probably not be in that field. But other than that, I think I do have a good background as far as since I've done some non-traditional nursing. Like I did billing before I did nursing, and then I do utilization management now. So some of the background stuff, like the insurance stuff, some people were talking about, I feel like I can manage that a little bit better. So yeah.
Totally awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, Liz, what about you?
Okay, well, Bree reminded me I can be kind of down to earth. Um, which is actually compelling. It makes me want to think about that. Okay. But I think other strengths are I can be ever since like the health coaching training, they really push being curious. Um and empathy, and of course, yes, empathy strong. But I like being curious now with patients. Like if they say something that's maybe just different or I don't quite get it and they're excited about it and I might be hearing it a certain way, I just say, like, I'm curious about that. Can you tell me more? Okay, but I think we're overusing tell me more. Where did I hear that? Was that here? Okay, it was somewhere else. So I like that. I like being curious, like in a respectful way. And also really respecting the autonomy of a patient. And I'm not interested in pushing anybody, even though I might have some metrics I have to hit as far as how many PCP visits or cancer screenings I get scheduled. I'm not going to go over the line if somebody doesn't want to talk about that or they want to take care of it themselves. That's their thing. I think I can be pretty diplomatic and see the big picture and get things done. And it's good to know, like just knowing like we all do the healthcare system. I made a lot of magic happen, Matthew, in Albuquerque the last couple weeks for a patient who had like 4 referrals and 2 procedures, and they were all pushed far out, and she just keeps losing weight. And I made what she thinks magic happen, and it did feel like magic, and it felt really good. I think some of my weaknesses, one is for sure dismissing myself, like my instincts, my first thoughts, intuition, my own knowledge. That's like, I am just seeing it more and more. That's my go-to. When I first see something, I'll think, oh, am I crazy? Oh, is that right? That can't be. And I think also multitasking, I can't do that. So I think this job will be better. If I'm multitasking, then I'm not focusing. And I'm at that point where then my memory is not super great anyway. So multitasking and losing focus. Like sometimes I'll be talking to a patient and trying to manipulate the schedule and the EHR and all this, and I'm like not even hearing them, but I'm triaging them. And so I'm not being present. So yeah, that's what I got. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. And lastly is Sonia and Lisa. What about you all?
All right. Lisa, you're still on mute.
There, I figured that one out. Yeah, Ed said one of her strong points was organization. That was the first thing that she mentioned. And I am so jealous because I would not list that as my first strong point. I'm working on that one. For mine, I think I'm good at connecting with my patients. I'm really good at the one-on-one. So I like that about myself. And Sonia gave me she mentioned that she feels like another strong point of hers is determination. And then I wanted to steal that one from her, or not steal it, but also take, because I have good determination, and I'm like, well, geez, I need to give myself credit for that. So I felt happy that she reminded me. How about you, Sonia?
Yes, just like Lisa said, mine is organization and determination, but it's also having the confidence to believe in myself, just to step in the role that I am made for and own it. And
Heck
it took me a long time to get to that point, but I also shared with her the best advice I have ever gotten was from my brother whenever he told me to just listen to spirit, because your spirit's going to be the one to guide you and won't steer you in the wrong direction, and you just have to have that faith to listen. And I always believe whenever you have that instinct, to go check on your patient, or, to go see there's something amiss, and you go and you find out there is something, that's just that strength that we have. And, but yeah, that's what I feel like is one of my main strengths is I just listen. I just listen and feel.
Wonderful. Well, thank you to you all. That's just wonderful. And I hope all of you heard words that you can use to describe yourself somewhere along the way when you write your website about the about section, because these are great words all of you use. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop sharing or start sharing and go back to the presentation. We don't have too much left here. So let's see. Can we do this? Okay. So we've talked about what was oppressive for us and who are the types of patients that we want to magnetize to us. And I'm going to skip that breakout session and let me get to the end of these slides. And then if there's a little time, we'll get to that. So we're going to get back to that. But other things we've thought about is that we're not ready to retire. And like you all said, I have too much to offer. But one of the things to think about is you do not want to say, I'm going to start my business in 1 year and on Monday, this business is going live and full time. It's not how it works. So it's good to have a job, a part-time job that you can escalate your hours or decrease your hours so that you can back off a little when your volume of patients increases. And also to think about if you go part-time, as you know, some organizations say if you work 20 to 24 hours, then you can have insurance. And other organizations say you don't have insurance. So paying for insurance privately before you're the age of 65 can be pretty horrific. So part of your work here will help you in your retirement because you're going to love what you do. And so if you had to go part-time and you were going to start your practice now, how would you make money to support yourself? If I have time, I want to come back to that as what would be your choices working part-time? So I'm going to skip that for a minute. And then just about networking, that the power of networking is a big force in magnetizing patients to you. So it could be coworkers or friends or people you meet in conferences. We've already talked about fees, so I'm going to skip that. And we've already talked about malpractice insurance that Roxanne Filson talked to us about. And then we briefly we've talked about SCORE and using small business centers to take classes and attend classes on blogging or starting a business. This is the AB Tech Annual Women's Business Conference. This is Blue Ridge Community College's Business Center. So what about creating a logo, business cards, and brochures? And what about creating separate bank accounts for your personal information as well as your work? And then the other thing just to say to pay attention to pictures of things that resonate with you. So for me, I love really beautiful colors and I really like nature. And that was instrumental in the development of my logo. So this is a leaf. And actually, Sarah did that for me. And so I have green and I have purple. Those are my two favorite colors, but I'm really into nature big time. And then this logo goes on everything on your brochures and on your cards. And FYI, it's a good thing to advertise yourself as a nurse because we are in the 20th consecutive year where nurses have been rated the highest among all professionals in terms of being trustworthy and having ethical standards. This just came out in ANA in the January 2024. So for those things that you don't like to do, consider hiring an accountant, PRN, and also don't ever commingle your personal accounts with your business accounts because it's kind of nightmarish to get it straight at the end of the year. And some banks will let you create up to 5 to 10 checking accounts. Also, you can scan your receipts, which I do. And also I started using QuickBooks, which is a very helpful tool. I've used Excel for years. There are also banking apps and people pay me with Venmo and Zelle and Square. So you have to be thinking about that. Also, does your bank send you automatic fraud alerts if somebody has accessed your credit card or wherever? And then it's really helpful to use mileage apps, and it's pretty easy to use and it calculates your mileage. You'll be traveling a lot, so mileage is a really good thing to take off on your taxes. I think it's 68 cents a mile now. This is an example of a bag of things I keep in my car, which is stethoscopes, some pulse ox, a manual blood pressure cuff, batteries, pencils, pens. Other apps that are helpful, of course, are Gmail, your camera, Apple News, Google Calendar, My Home Trust Bank, Messenger, personal Facebook, business Facebook, PayPal, Square, Google Slides, Mayo Clinic, Calculator, LinkedIn. GoodRx is a discount pharmaceutical website you can get with lots of things taken off. Waze is one of the best wayfinding apps that I've ever used, and Zoom, of course, and YouTube and Apple TV and Chrome. We've talked about mileage, Weather Channel, Google Keep, Pedometer, and Pathright because we are having that accessible to get into our class stuff. TurboScan is another big one I use. Instead of faxing, I TurboScan, and you just take pictures with your phone and you can just copy several copies to a HIPAA compliant place. Insight Timer is a meditation app. iNaturalist is for plants. Google Calendar, PayPal, and Find My iPhone. And never give in on yourself or what you're trying to do. And of course, looking at OLLI chapters for lots of coursework. These are the biggies for patient advocacy websites. The Aging Life Care Association is one. The good news is they're really good. The bad news is it's $365 a year. Your state nurse association is good for you to stay connected to what's going on in your state. If you belong to your state ANA, then you'll also be a member of the American Nurse Association. Then there's something called the Alliance of Patient Health Advocates. That's called APFA. That one has some glitches to it. The American Nurse Association is one. Locally, we have these Buncombe County Council on Aging where they teach free Medicare classes. You will be asked 4,000 times starting in September by your colleagues, your patients, should I get Medicare Advantage plan or should I go to traditional Medicare? I really recommend that all of you take a free Medicare 101 class. Okay. Then there's other things to help take care of yourself and stay connected. We have something called Leadership Asheville around the country. It might be Leadership Baltimore or Leadership San Diego. That's another thing. We also have local chapter for our American Holistic Nurse Association called the Blue Ridge Holistic Nursing Association and our SCORE chapter. And our state is divided into 10 education centers. And so I go to a lot of things in our mountain area education center. We've talked about local business centers, seminars. Want to just briefly say about business cards are a triple dipple bypass important thing. And people are going to ask you 1,000 times for your business card. They are cheap. You can get 50 at Vistaprint for $25. I really prefer to go to a local printer so I can see it, feel it, and use it. So you want to keep in mind that your business card needs to be read easily by elders. They want to see your picture. They want to see your credentials. What's the name of your business? What's your email? What's your logo? What's your phone number? Back of card. And is it paper stock? So this up here was my first business card. Now, do you notice anything about this business card? First of all, it's really slick. I mean, as in slick, as in if you try to write on this with a ballpoint pen, it's not happening. But this friend of mine who's an artist, we said, oh, that's the most beautiful color. Well, it's really hard to read. Okay. So then I converted to this. This is cardstock. This is not slick. This has got my picture, my logo, my business, my website, my email. And then on the back of both of these, this is the back of that slick green card. But if you're an elder, you're going to have trouble reading this because it's tiny font. And then we converted to a thick, bold type font that elders can read. And then people can write on this. They can write on it easily. So then let's see. So just my story quickly. I left my 6-figure job, became a adjunct, started making $30 an hour, had to get an Airbnb, and then I worked with Sarah for about 9 months, and went live in February 2016. My first patient didn't come till April, 2 months later, but then I went full time. It took about 3 years for me to get to the point where I quit my job and I can make my money. So people say, how long is it going to take me to make enough money to go do this work full time? And the answer is it depends on you, and everybody's different. So for me, I worked on it a lot. I did a lot of work. So if you are going to do a lot of work, the faster and more you work, the more likely it is you can go full time sooner. Let's see. And then I also had about 3 or 4 business names and URLs that I also selected. So I selected my name. You all selected names. We'll probably go through that one more time. These are the top reasons why people want me to help them. The big one that's missing here is hospitalization. That's my #1 call. And so lessons learned. Hire a part-time writer to help you with authoring your website page. It was really hard for me to do that, and that was a very wonderful thing. Hire a part-time webmaster to help you create your web page. Hire a volunteer SCORE mentor to help you with your introductory coaching, planning, and your business plan. This is hire a part-time IT person. I would say out of everyone that I've worked with, Mark Zarnecki has been the most important help for me in my whole life, because there's 4 million things associated with going into business. And I listed them all here, and it's too busy, but bottom line, everything is computerized, everything is digital, and now we have AI. and this is vital to your practice. Other lessons learned: keep working full time so you can afford to pay an excellent webmaster, and keep working full time so you can get more patients. And then when your patient volume increases, then you can knock down your hours working part-time. You can get a free bank account for your business. And I put this on my checking account, for example. I also hired a nurse coach. That was Linda Bark, because I felt stupid. I felt like I was too much of a neophyte. I didn't know what I was doing. I was scared. How in the world is anybody going to want me to help them? So she was vital. And then implementing major self-care strategies. So actually, I became a stress management instructor trainer, and I started teaching that. So it was important to have aggressive self-care strategies, network like crazy. Make sure you guys, while you're in this class, remember Jan Nickerson, who is the bio resume queen of the world. She will help you get your resume and your bio done. So please call her. And Gary Heisey is offering his time free to help you with a one-page business plan. And Mark is helping you with a 30-minute IT consult, and I'm giving you a free hour. Use us, use us, use us. And then one of the things I strongly recommend is teach free classes everywhere, because you get so many customers. And then understand what your Enneagram type is and how that is a lens for you to integrate with the world. This is a picture of Gary. I love this man. And then conflicting with the patient. This is one of the last things I'll say. When someone shows you who you are, they are, believe them the first time. That's what Maya Angelou said. So I had a client who was 82 years old, and she said she was a psychotherapist. And in our initial meeting, she said, "Can you be mean to people?" And I said, I probably can, but I'm not mean. What do you mean you're not mean? I said, I'm not mean. Well, why would I hire you? And I said, because I am soft-spoken, but I will always be persistent, and I will help you advocate for the things you need. Well, she was pretty argumentative, but I thought, well, I can work with her. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Okay. So Mark knows this whole story, and I'll just say it quickly, that her husband was in the same facility as she was, and he was dying. And so she wanted to know what in the world was going on with him, and she hated the physician for the facility. So anyway, I decided we were going to have a group consult on the online, and we were going to have the physician, we're going to have the director of nursing, we were going to have the case manager, all on the same phone call. And we did. And I thought they all did a great job. They were super prepared. They knew what was in the chart with this man. They knew what was his diagnoses, what his medications, what his lab results were. And I complimented them on it. And afterwards, she called me up and absolutely climbed my frame and told me I was too nice, and I was fired. So, bottom line, pay attention to your intuition, because if they're mean on the front end, it's probably going to come up somewhere along the line. Lastly, time-tested stress management tips. Exercise, for me, it's getting in nature. Give yourself a massage. I had a great intuition teacher who said one of the best therapeutic modalities on earth are hot baths and showers. And if I've had a rough day, I get in the shower, I don't care what time it is, and let it all be going down the drain. Unplug yourself from newscast 2 hours before you go to bed to keep your brain from going into a crazy place. Take a pause with deep breathing and get a good night's sleep. Meditate, music therapy, eat a plant-based diet, go outside. And lastly, this is all of Mark's numbers. Make sure you call him, because he's offering his help. And just as a review, that we've had Tom Mock come and talk about SCORE. We've had Sandra Smith come and talk about your Enneagram style. We've had Sarah come and talk about website 101. We've had Gary Heisey come and talk about creating your one-page business plan. And he's going to come back and talk about LLCs and PLLCs versus sole proprietorship. And we've talked about websites. So this is more about Mark. This is more about Mark. What is one step for you to work on your business that you can share next week? That is your homework. And then lastly, we did something special here in Asheville. We birthed the Elder Nurse Corps on April 26th, and we sent out 2,471 emails to nurses across our 9 counties. We had 100 nurses show up, and one of our big taglines is, when we feel better, our patients and families do better. So we're having our second meeting next Thursday, 2 weeks from now. And our thought is that we are going to work on ourselves and create bonding in our group and figure out what things we need to do to put the oxygen on ourselves first as elders. That's it. So takeaways. We're at 9:08. I'll have to do those 2 exercises with you next week. But wait, next week we have Dr. Aditi Sethi Brown, who is a hospice physician, who's going to come and talk about her work she's going to talk about the difference between palliative and hospice care. She's also going to talk about a fabulous nonprofit that she started here called the Center for Conscious Living and Dying, which is phenomenal. And Greg is going to do, his talk is going to be Transitions, the Art of Dying. And then 2 weeks after that, on May 29th, we have, yes, that's right, we have Brian Luke Seward himself, author of 11 textbooks on managing stress, and he is a fabulous speaker. So that's what's coming. So don't forget, your homework next week is to just come prepared to talk about one thing you're doing for your business. Okay, takeaways. Okay, Matthew, what about you?
All right, it's all Rich. Well, it makes me hate my stuff I hate less tonight. So I that's my takeaway. I think I'm in a good position to kind of get excited and start doing this.
Totally awesome. Thank you, Matthew. What about you, Luann?
Well, I really like what you're doing with the Elder Nurse Corps. That's very cool. I know that doesn't have much to do with starting a business, but I think that's synergistic with wisdom. This course, this class was, I like your overview of, there's a lot of practical steps. So I'm gonna go back through when I have more sleep and write down the specifics. That was good.
Good, thank you. And Jennifer?
Well, I love what you just said, that there's going to be a lot of bonding with this class because, I mentioned before that we did a bondage thing last week when we all kind of send out text messages and getting to know each other. And I think it kind of gives me some calm and a little bit more purpose when we get together. Just kind of talk about all the little things we're going through. I think it's wonderful. I'm excited to get back on track. I think I'm going to be traveling next week, so I'm not sure I'm going to make it to class. I'm surely going to try, but I want to go back through everything. Lisa is a fabulous researcher, like she said. So she's printed off some things about, look, it's like a questionnaire. Yeah, she did this about getting a company name, an executive summary, and business description. And so that might be my paperwork in the car to really try to get things moving and grooving and interjecting my plan. Knowing that I need to keep a full-time job or the income coming. And I consider that in all the applications I sent out this week. So we'll see.
Yes, feed yourself first. That's important. Thank you, Jennifer. And Sabrina?
Well, it's good to know people a little bit better in breakout rooms, but originally I thought, you know how when you do an interview and somebody asks you about your weaknesses and you're supposed to like secretly turn them into strengths? Um, it's good that you didn't do that. It's good that you're just like, okay, if you have a weakness and you know that you're not going to do it or you're going to do it half-ass, then just hire somebody to do it. I think that's a much better life lesson. That way we won't tank. So that's still what I took from it. I still have a list of things that I know that I can do, that I know I need help on, maybe a little bit more education on, and then, you know, have some leeway, and then things that I definitely need some assistance on or would hire. So, that's what I took from it.
Thank you. And Liz, thank you, Sabrina.
Oh man, I need more time to process is what I'm learning. To be able to tell you my takeaways. I think as it always does, like reinvigorating, I need to actually sit with my notes and come up with some homework for myself and actually put it on a schedule in order to make it happen. I bought a schedule book. That's progress. So no, I just appreciate the support and going through everything that we've been exposed to so far. And I like Bree's point that this life lesson of just acknowledging maybe where our challenges are and not having to try to flip them on their head and make them pretty. Just get the help we need.
Amen. Thank you, Liz. Sonia.
Well, I'm just going to repeat what some of the other ones have already said, that I appreciate the review because it reminded me of some things I thought of from class when we were going over it in class. And I was like, oh, yeah, I need to do that too. But the main thing is I need time. I need time, or I need time to slow down just to get what I need to get done. But yeah, I just really appreciate the reviews of everything that we've gone over in class, and just kind of thinking and trying to get a little bit more focused as to what we need to do to get our businesses started. So I just appreciate that.
Sonia. And Lisa.
Yes, I liked that quote you started the class off with. The big doors swing on small hinges.
Mhm.
When you can be yourself, all stress and strain disappear because you are not trying to be someone you're not. Yeah, the small hinges. That's, I guess, my focus, because that helps me not be so overwhelmed. Just what little steps can I do that will bring me on my path?
So, thank you. Okay, Lisa Seeds.
You had a nice list of teachable moments at the end that I thought were very inspiring. A lot of those actually are things that sent a whole big picture to me that I'm not the only one feeling the anxiety. And sometimes, you know, when I think about starting a business, you know, I get very anxious about it because it doesn't have the security of working at the hospital or working for a different company or whatever, because you are your own boss. And it's not that I can't be my own boss, because I tell myself what to do all the time. Anyway, but it's just the knowledge that there's everybody's feeling kind of the same way. We all have a little anxiety, a little concern as to whether or not we really think we can do this or not. And that, like I said, that just resonated for me. And just for a quick reference, the cat you may or may not have seen earlier, his name
His name is what?
is Winston, short for Winston
Winston.
Churchill.
Oh, Winston Churchill. Never, never, never give in. Good.
Never give
Thank
in.
you. Thank you. Okay, Mark, what about you?
I was inspired by Sabrina. I have a label maker sitting next to me, and I had to get my fix of 2 labels today. So I made my 2 labels, and I feel a little bit more organized. My mind's at ease, where I can probably get some rest.
Oh,
Proud of
boy.
you, Mark. I'm so proud.
Thank you, Sabrina.
All right, so we'll see you next week. So, see you. Much love. Everybody have a great week, okay? Yay. Okay. Bye-bye. Have a good one.